everyone out there. I'm so excited for today's show. We're here with an amazing guest, and I'm so excited to have him. This is only a 30-minute show, so I don't like to waste no time. Steffen is going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about visual strategy, storytelling, social media. We're going to be sharing all his work, what he's up to, and it's just going to be a good, fun time. So I'm glad everybody's here. We're streaming out to YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, if you're out there, Twitter. I mean, we're all over. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and let's get our guest right out and waste no time. The amazing Steffen.
Hey, hi everybody.
Hi,
DeeJae. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad we finally get to talk after years. We've known each other for a few years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we became friends actually, I think it was right before the pandemic. I think it was before the pandemic. And then the pandemic hit, and of course, threw all of our brains into a fog, and now we can't remember when we met anybody anymore.
Yes, because I learned how to stream with Tim, and that was before I started streaming. So that was definitely before the pandemic.
That's right. When Tim Sohn, our friend Tim Sohn, who's a great live stream producer, and also Sohn Social Media Solutions, and he does many things. He had a few Tim was the one who got me interested in live streaming in many ways. But it was the nature of the pandemic that really drew me in more than anything, as it did hundreds, if not thousands of people, learning how to live stream and stay in touch with the world that way, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Zoom, with everyone jumping on Zoom, they became much more comfortable with the camera. That was my story as well. I realized the power of the camera and that connection that we were still able to maintain. So it was really a turning point, I think. Yeah. I tried to take the good things out of it, and here we are a few years later. So we've got some people coming into the chat.
Here,
yes, let's see. Let's say hi to Marco.
Saturday night is here. I like that.
Yeah. Well, Marco was a guest 2 weeks ago, and that was a great conversation. Us talking about e-commerce.
I've seen Marco on other shows. He's great to listen to.
Yes. And Marco's also looking for some shows to be on. So if anybody wants to invite Marco, he's up for the challenge. I see Robert's here. Hi, Robert.
Hey, Robert.
It's been a while. Thank you for hanging out with us. I know. It's the power of live stream, how it brings everybody together. We can have these conversations. We can engage, even if it's been months or weeks or whatever, just to see two people that you're familiar with, right? Or two people that you would love to see that interaction. And that's one of the things that I love about live streaming that I've thought was another extra that there's no other medium that it has, is just watching the energy between the two people. So
there's Tim Sohn as we speak saying Marco Polo.
Yes, Tim, I hope you heard us saying wonderful things about you and how you were a connection point for us. And you were also the guiding light in our passion for live streaming. A wonderful teacher.
Well, you know, it's interesting because when the pandemic started, so my background is I was a New York Times supervising photo editor for 15 years. And I was also after that, I dived into social media. And as a social media consultant, one of the things that I realized right away was that I needed to carve out my own path. And the way to do that, given that there were a lot of social media people out there emerging and already present, I decided and I realized right away that the secret sauce was really adding in my visual experience as a photojournalist, as a New York Times photo editor, and many other things, and my communication skills in general. So I merged it all together, and I quickly started calling myself a social media visual strategist and consultant. And that was what led me to AARP. I worked with AARP for 5 or 6 years with a very appropriately entitled program that they had, platform called Life Reimagine. And Life Reimagine really appealed to me because it was exactly what I was doing with my life. And I was reimagining my life after so many years at the old gray lady, as they call it. So I was there, And after I was at Life Reimagined, I transitioned to another company. I worked with a charitable foundation for numerous years, several years, helping them with their social media strategy and engagement. And then and then the pandemic hit. So getting to the point here is that when the pandemic hit, I decided to take the bull by the horns and become a live streamer as well. So, but I wanted to have a purpose to what I was doing. I really believe one of the big things about Life Reimagined was I learned a lot from the authorities that were working with them, who are experts, scholars in this field, including Richard Leiter and my dear friend, both of them are my dear friends, but Richard Leiter and Dr. Christine Whalen from the University of Madison, Wisconsin-Madison. I always get Madison, Wisconsin, Madison mixed up. But anyway, Christine is known as the Purpose Professor, and she's now also working with Emory University. So I started a show called the Spin It Social Hour. And if you looked at my first, which was basically interviewing photographers from around the world for I did 50 shows throughout the pandemic. And I was doing one a week, but then I decided to, after about a year and a half, I started doing one a month. I was doing one every 2 weeks rather than one a month, because it's a lot of work. I was doing the research on the photographers. I was curating their work. I was doing the show the way I wanted to do it. And it was a big hit. It was really great. I had Pulitzer Prize winning photographers on. I had photographers as far away as Croatia on and other places. And it was really great. I had a real passion for it. But after doing 50 shows, the pandemic was alleviating just a bit. We're still in a pandemic, folks. I hate to tell you, but it's just many more people have been vaccinated and other things, and we're opening up a lot, as we know. So the bottom line is that I decided that I was going to end the show after 50 shows, and I was going to gear myself more towards live stream production, because I had started doing a few things here and there. And I realized right away that I like doing production because it's like a jigsaw puzzle. I like putting everything together for other people. I didn't have to be on camera all the time, which I don't mind. But I just liked it. So one of the things I realized, though, also was that I like doing small to medium scale productions. I did some high level productions with certain things, and I realized that there are different levels of how to do this, this
absolutely
field that we're in. And it's a very technical field. It's a very demanding field. What I get the most enjoyment out of, and I'm at that point in my life where if I'm not enjoying something I'm doing, I'm not doing it. I'm doing what I can to survive, but I have to do something that I really enjoy doing, because I'm just at that point. So production really started to appeal to me. And lo and behold, I started working with different clients, but my main client right now doing live stream production is with Emory University. So there's a center there called the Center for the Study of Human Health. And there's a world-renowned journalist that works with them called Maren McKenna. Maren is a fabulous, one of the smartest women, one of the smartest people around I know, that deals with science and things like the avian flu and many things. She's written bestseller books, everything. So Maren, who's also works with Wired magazine, we decided to me and the director for the Center for the Study of Human Health and Maren joined forces, and I started producing the live streams for them, which were only done on Zoom before.
Oh.
But now they're being fed to YouTube, Twitter. We're going to be going to LinkedIn next fall semester and other things.
Wonderful.
And it's just really, really beneficial for the center to be able to get it out across all these channels.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. Woo! You're doing a lot. And I love that you're predominantly working on the university level.
Yeah, I like working with nonprofits a lot. And I really enjoy working with, thanks, Tim. Yeah. By the way, one of the best things that we can all do, as DeeJae sees with her setup, with my setup. I just don't like a very sterile background. So I'm going to be doing more with it in the near future. But one of the things that I started doing was, I have a lot of photographer friends who are really, really incredible out there. And one in particular, whose name is Rick Friedman, who's a great photographer. You should look him up. Rick Friedman has photographed presidents and many other things. World-renowned lighting specialist. I called him up one day. I said, Rick, I need a few tips on lighting and this and that. And he was like, okay. And I've been to his little studio that he has in Boston. And we met during the pandemic finally. And I went to Boston and we hung out one day. We had lunch and he gave me some tips. So I bought a Savage. Savage is a company that makes lighting background products like paper for studios, photographers, backdrops, all that stuff, and many other things. Savage also makes a little light that's a little lighting unit that has like 8 different colors and like 300 different shades of these 8 colors.
Whoa.
So green one day, I could have yellow, I could have it rotate like a rainbow.
Yes.
That might give some people seizures, so I don't do that.
Mine does too. I use this one. It has a little remote and it has all the different, like a strobe, a flash, the smooth, all the different colors it includes. So
Tim's calling me a savage.
Oh yeah, tricks of the trade. Oh, so tell me a little bit about the visual strategy component and the storytelling component in your wonderful profession and how you use that.
Sure. So, one of the things I'm a firm believer in are several things. One is visual strategy. That's number one. Everything I feel that people do these days needs to have some sort of visual element to it. And beyond just live streaming, everything, whether you're promoting the live stream, I try not to use the same photos over and over again. I try not to use the same promo cards over and over again. For instance, with Emory, when I promote their live stream, and I help them promote their live stream on Twitter and Instagram, one of the things that I do is that on Twitter, I create what's called Twitter threads. And with the first one that I put out for every live stream is about probably 6 to 7 tweets. They're all threaded together and they all have different components to it. One has the lead promo card. Another has a little clip from a previous live stream that we do that I arranged in a way that in the middle of the live stream, the host, Maren McKenna, reads off. We put up the card of all the guests for the season. There's usually 3 or 4 guests for the season. She reads them off. She tells people about the live stream. She tells people about the authors, who are very, world-renowned authors in their own right on science and other subjects dealing with science. And she talks about it. So then I make a short clip of that. I add it in the Twitter thread. I use it separately. So I get photos from the authors of their books. I get photos of the authors in different contexts. So I can always use and create little visual threads and telling a story about the guest that's going to be on the show.
That's creative.
Talk about where they went to school. I'll talk about what other work they've done in their life. I'll talk about other things, and I'll thread it all together. I'll also tag people who are related in this thread. For instance, the publishers of the books. Why would you not let the publishers of the books know that they're going to be on a live stream with a world-renowned journalist with a world-renowned university?
Absolutely. Wow. And I love how you're just using the social media platforms, but really continuing with the visual strategy. I know we talked about Instagram. You have an amazing Instagram, and I do want to share, if anyone out there is not,
pull it up, and I'll talk about Instagram, and I'll also talk about Instagram stories. So
here we go.
So my Instagram, by the way, branding, I'm a big believer in branding, at least name-wise, if anything. I still don't have a logo for my brand, which I'm working on, which I've had my brand for 12 years now. I'm a little behind the times with this, but the bottom line is the name sticks with everybody. So Spin It Social is my brand across all channels. LinkedIn, of course, it's Steffen Kaplan. So please connect with me on LinkedIn. I love to connect with anybody and everybody in the business and beyond. But the reason I have Spin It Social is Spin It for a long time it's for many years, it's been the oldest marketing term in the book, when you spin something. So I decided one day that since I'm in social media, I needed a really good name. And I was walking down the street one day with my poor old dog, who's not here anymore. And I was walking, I came up with the name. And so I ran home, I took it out on all the channels. And my advice to everybody when it comes to branding, I tell my students this at FIT religiously. I teach, and I'm an adjunct professor at FIT. I teach 25 photography students the fundamentals of social media once a year. And I tell them all the time, when you think of a brand name, take it out on every channel imaginable. Your email, TikTok, Instagram, link, everything. Own it across the board. Then when you need it one day, you'll have it, even if you don't use that platform that much.
Great, solid advice. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, let's see some of these pictures. I will go back to the other view. I just wanted to make sure while we were talking, I could see your face. Let's see, this one. Okay. So talk to us about your visual strategy that you use in your photography, how you tell stories, what tips other individuals can use, whether it becomes live streaming or not, just to enhance their brand.
Well, the number one thing that I do to attract people to me as a all-around jack of all trades, I call it, I'm like I said, a social media and visual strategist and a live stream producer now, and a community builder, a community engagement specialist.
I want to know more about that.
Yeah, I did that many years in the hotel business. When I first started out in social media, I started in the hotel business, which was great. A great launching pad for me as a social media person, because if you can do social media for hotels, you can do social media for anybody. Because when you're dealing with clientele, guests that are coming into a hotel in New York City, I did social media for a hotel in Long Island City called the ZNYC Hotel. And I did social media as a social media ambassador for the Salisbury Hotel, which sadly no longer exists. Which was over by Carnegie Hall. Anyway, my point is that when you're an engagement specialist and a community specialist early on, you really hone your skills in community engagement. And as we know, with live streaming and bringing people into the live streams from the outside, from on the show, it's all about building community. So that really lent itself well to me progressing and building my brand and my business as a social media and visual and live stream producer,
Yeah.
So
Great.
when it comes to visuals,
scroll down some more. I want to see some more photos while we're chit-chatting.
When it comes to visuals, I'll show you a great example of something. So these three right here in the middle, these three visuals here, let's say like this photo here, and this photo here. I took these this weekend. Now, the thing with these three photos, let me go back to the grid so you can see all of them again. These three photos, I was at Princeton University, and I was there this weekend, Friday and Saturday, as a consultant working with PhD students, advising them on how to improve their LinkedIn profiles. So I was working with these really, really incredibly smart students who are doctorate students there. But they needed help with their LinkedIn profiles. So the point with this is that while I was there, I got there about 2 hours early, and I was at the what's called the Frick Chemistry Laboratory building. And I was like, wow, this place is amazing. It's got like the most amazing modern design and architecture. my mind starts working right away that, okay, I've got to spend an hour and a half photographing this place, because then not only is it going to help me promote the fact that I was there to help Princeton and advertise for Princeton about what they do with their grad futures program for graduate students, but it's also then going to allow me to post on LinkedIn, which I'll show you in just a bit, when I'm posting about the event and adding a bunch of photos with my post. And it's going to make people that much more interested in what I have to say, because we live in a visual world, you know?
Yes, I agree. The visual component to art, to live stream, to any type of graphic is so important. And
Right.
I tell you, I keep scrolling when I don't see anything that is just popping and engaging and full of color or life or emotion, which was something we talked about the show. It's just really getting to that person somehow in some way, and striking that inside them to make them want to stop and look and interact with that piece. So
Right.
your art is
they've the term that's been coined in the industry is thumb stoppers, because when you're scrolling on your phone, what do? You stop, and you stop. What do you stop on a dime? You stop on a visual, whether it's a video, a photo, a graphic, an illustration, whatever it is. It's got to appeal to you, and it stops you. Now, not saying that people don't stop on text posts and read them. I hope they do. But the bottom line is our attention is limited these days. We're all multitasking and have many things on our plates, and looking. The thing that appeals to us most are visuals. So whenever I'm around, one of the things I encourage people to do in general in this business of multimedia, social media, visuals, whatever it is, live streaming, is we all have our smartphones. I have a professional camera too. I have both. But I always document life. I document life wherever I go, whether it's a street scene, whether it's a food delivery person like this person here, delivering food on one of those new, like I call them
like
I call them electric unicycles.
unicycle, one wheel. But
You know
each
what?
piece tells a story in itself, and you can come up with a story if that.
Right. I have
So
an obsession of swans in my area, by the way. So I'm obsessed with these two swans in our area, and I've been documenting them for like 3 years now. And I have them in every possible light and angle.
what
But
would be some tips you give to someone taking photography or trying to improve and increase their visual eye?
number one is concentrate on learning how to compose a photo. Look at some great photographers out there. Look at some great photography feeds out there on Instagram and otherwise. And look at how people compose photos. Composition is
Oh,
key.
yes.
Um,
Composition. Hear that over and over again. Even in a static graphic, something that you're making for your brand, for your podcast, for your show, for an event that you're trying to promote. Composition, the carousels, the compositions in those. I mean, any piece that you are putting out there on social media, looking at the composition is absolutely key. I would agree with that.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that, I also firmly believe in with visual. Oh, so getting back to any tips about photography,
Yeah.
that you asked me about.
Just any visual, anyone creating any visual
Well,
piece.
the number one thing that people really should do is also, since most people use their smartphones, especially in this business, is that we all have these high-end smartphones. I use a Samsung S21 Ultra, which is a really high-end phone. Is learn your settings. Now, when I say settings, we have our phone settings and we have our camera settings. Go into the pinwheel function of your camera on your phone and make sure that you have everything set to the right settings, meaningly find the highest res setting for the photos that you're taking, set it at that. Make sure that your phone is set on high HD, on HDR, because you want to take advantage of the high res settings and the HDR to have maximum impact for the color and for the sharpness and for everything else. Some people will say, yeah, but photos get so big, it takes up so much memory on my phone, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, whoa, wait. You can upload your photos to Google Photos. You can also then clear your phone and put them all on an external drive, which you should be doing every now and then to clear the memory. So you should be using your videos and your photos on your phone at the highest capacity possible, because there is no room for mediocrity when it comes to visuals.
I got a story, and it applies to today. I was in a chat with my coaching community that we love, and we were talking about podcast cover, and the graphic artist was telling this person, like, that photo is not high resolution. I don't want it. Give me something that's high resolution. So in itself today, I had heard that already, how important it is to have high resolution photos, especially if you're going to be sending them out to a professional to work with as well.
Absolutely. And the thing is that, when you shoot them high res, you can then have a little more room to crop a little more. And also, most importantly, is that when you post them, we know these platforms in general, Instagram doesn't do it as much, but Facebook and other platforms really scrunch the photos, and they become less.
Is that compressing? No. Is that compressing?
Yeah, they're compressing the photos. And also, there's a lot of other factors involved. In the display functions and everything else. So the bottom line is that you want to take things at the highest res possible and worry about storage and other things by simply either clearing your phone, uploading your photos to either Google Photos, which is a great place to upload them to, and also have a backup if you really care about your visuals and want them for the future, which I think everybody can reuse content. Put them on an external drive. I have 2 or 3 external drives, which really are great to have. I use a little Samsung 2 terabyte drive. That's the size of
I got one somewhere down here. Let me see.
It's the size of a credit card, And
it's super tiny. Mine's not that tiny.
Yeah, and it's 2 terabytes,
Let me see if I got something. You can buy them online on Amazon. Sorry, folks. Keep showing your beautiful art. I'm going to look for this. But 30 minutes just flies by. So keep going. Give us any more tidbits, any more tips on creating high quality, upping our visual strategy, how to tell better stories for our brand or business through live streaming, through photography.
Sure. So with live streaming in particular too, like I said earlier, there are many different ways to approach advertising for a live stream and marketing for a live stream and getting the information out there, building the story around it. You can build the story around your guest. If your guest has done a lot out there, well, you can build a story on it. One of the things I like to do visually to promote a live stream is to actually cross over and promote it on Instagram. Now, how do I do that? I like to use Instagram stories. I'm a big fan of Instagram stories. I love building Instagram stories. I think they're fun. They're visually appealing. You can do so many different things with them. And since Instagram dropped the biggest pain in the butt thing ever, which was before, I think it was about almost a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Before then, you had to have 10,000 followers to be able to use and get and put a link on a story for people to then click on to then go to either a website or wherever you want to drive them to. But now you don't need 10,000 followers. It's open to everybody. So one of the things you can do is you can put a link with your story. You can put numerous mentions of people that are involved with what you're trying to promote on the story, in the story. So there's many different ways to use an Instagram story, but the best thing of all is that you can also incorporate some music and other things with them, create little video clips too, reels, many things. So Instagram is a gold mine, in my opinion, when it comes to being able to use it to promote live streams. Because when I promote, so when I promote the live stream, one more thing, when I promote the live stream, for example, for Emory, I'll put out things about the authors, and I'll include a link to the YouTube channel where then they can watch it in a week from then or whenever it is, and they can click on it and then calendar it in YouTube so that they know and get a notice.
Nice. So my question was Instagram, since you're clearly very you like to talk about Instagram and that's one of your primary platforms. What do you think of them admitting that the video focusing on reels was maybe possibly a mistake, and that they might go back to the way they were with photography and being more of a platform for still?
I hope they find a middle ground with that. Honestly, I think there's a lot of benefits to having great videos on Instagram, but being a purist and a photographer, I do get tired of too many, and I'm going to say it, not being snobbish or anything, but nonsensical videos on Instagram and other things. I mean, it's one thing if it's quality content, but there's a lot of other stuff out there too. And I'm not on Instagram really to be entertained. I'm on it to look at great art and great visuals. I'll leave the entertainment factor to TikTok that way, you know? When I want a great laugh, I'll admit I go to TikTok sometimes because, I mean, if you want to see craziness sometimes, just scroll through TikTok for about 15 minutes and you'll be like, whoa, you know?
Yeah.
And I see Junaid's joined the broadcast.
Hello, Junaid.
A great live streamer, all around tech guy and producer. And I have to say one thing about Junaid. Junaid is so kind and generous. When I first started getting in the live stream, and he was also making a big push with a lot of things, he always took the time to talk about a few things with me. We've kind of drifted a little because he's busy, I'm busy, and this and that. But I will say this: everybody should watch Junaid Ahmed. He is not only an authority on everything tech wise, he just knows how to present things really well. Really well.
Absolutely. I know. I love Junaid. I actually referred someone to him just because he's so high quality. He's got an amazing skill set, and his talent is top notch in his field. And he was
one of the reasons I went out and I upped my game with a really good. I have a Mac Mini here and a Mac with an M1 chip. 2021 version. But the thing is that the Macs that are out now, I'm using the webcam from the Mac today. It is super sharp. It is super sharp. And that's a rapid improvement. But one thing that Junaid always does is he ups the game, because his broadcasts, I mean, you could see a droplet of sweat on Junaid's forehead. Not that he ever sweats. He never lets people see him sweat.
I can't wait to hear more about what he's coming up with and his announcements. I'm like on the seat of my chair, like waiting to see what he's got coming in this next quarter.
I believe in thoroughly also in this business is talking and giving credit where credit's due about other people who do great work in this business.
Absolutely.
When I were talking about this earlier off screen about the fact that there's enough pieces of the pie for everybody to go around in live streaming. There's a million different businesses out there, a million different sectors that need help. Everybody's got their specialty. Me, it's education and nonprofits and other things. Some people, like you, it may be mental health you were doing for a while, other things. So there's no reason not to talk about other people in this business and help them and just talk about them and mention the good that they do,
Absolutely.
I believe in sharing the wealth, I mean, it's how we can all get ahead,
Yes. And you can't deny great talent and top of the how would I say it? Like you, right? Your photography is just so powerful and visually appealing. And I mean, you're very talented, just like Junaid's very talented. And so it's just wonderful. How could you not want to support individuals in their work?
Well, I mean,
it's not easy work. I mean, so
we all have lives. We all have many things going on in life. It's a very complex world. And I like what Junaid said. There's so much abundance in the world. The sun doesn't rise for just a few. Very true.
Ooh, love
And,
that.
very, very true. And I'm a big, like I said, believer in purpose and passion. And my purpose is to always do quality work over quantity work. I don't overtax myself the way I used to anymore.
Oh, I remember when you were going through that phase.
Yeah, I mean, I multitasking is overrated. I think that we all have to multitask, but the level of multitasking can be controlled by only one person.
And it
You,
affects your quality,
it
hands down.
the level of multitasking can only be controlled by you, because the more you take on for too many clients and too many people, I understand we all have to drive business, but when it starts to interfere with quality and your health, then you have to take a step back and you have to try to figure out, what can I do to maintain my health, number one, because without our health, we're nothing. And number two, our mental health, because our mental health is key. And stress tears everything else apart, you know?
Well said. Well
And
said.
I was getting there for a while too, where I was overtaxing myself. And I decided that I was going to put the brakes on in certain ways, no matter at what cost. And I just cut back on certain things and dealt with it, and still dealing with a few things here and there, but I'm better for it. And I just believe my feet are on more level ground. So that's my advice to everybody about this very complex world and very high stress business that we can be in, because social media and live streaming and all this production work is not easy. It takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication, but if you're passionate about it, it should be fun. It should be
I
fun.
agree.
If we lose that quality, then it becomes just another job. And you know what? I told you at the beginning of the show, I'm done with that.
I love it. Oh, wow. Well, that's a great way to start wrapping this up, because it's so true. When you're really involved in doing something that is worthwhile to you, you're passionate, you're purposeful, you're intentional about it.
Can I give one more tip to everybody?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to stop sharing my Instagram feed here, and I'm going to share my LinkedIn feed for a second, just to give you an example of what I was talking about before.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
give me 1 second here.
there we go. LinkedIn.
Let me just pull this up.
I will put up your
A lot of people, two things quickly I'm going to point out. Everybody should learn about the featured section on LinkedIn and make sure that they're using it appropriately for photos and videos and other things they want to highlight about their work. And the second thing about LinkedIn is, for instance, I told you this weekend I was at Princeton University. Whoops, I was at Princeton University doing this work, and I wanted to make sure that I really show off some photos from there. So somebody took this photo of me and my colleague, Patricia Kitchen, who's another LinkedIn expert. And I put that as the main photo. But what I did to tell the story is, I'll show you right here. If you go into the comments, I have numerous photos, if you see here in the comments, and you'll see here in a minute. Here comes some more. Oops, let's see. Hold on a second here. So here's two. I did a new profile photo of Patricia while we were there with my new Sony camera. And then I also did this photo when we were walking around the campus. This was an incredible moment that happened. All this light started reflecting around this newly designed, just unbelievable building on their campus. And the way it's designed, all the lights started going through these little holes and created this wicked special effect. But if you see, I'm using a lot of visuals there. And then the same thing goes for the first day I was there. Here's another one. I did a little photo collage here of the building, the interior, the other colleague I was with that day. And my other colleague, sorry, I'm trying to blank, was Serena Capes. And we were there and I wanted to highlight these. So I put 2 photos at the top, and then I put 3 photos that match up very well at the bottom. So it's always about coordinating everything really well and using LinkedIn in different ways so that you can promote things with visuals. Because when somebody sees this, they'll stop and then they'll read everything and they'll check everybody out. And then finally, if you're going to use photos with everybody, as you see in my post here, make sure you tag all the appropriate sources. And a big shout out to my colleagues Srinivasan and Neil Parekh for bringing me back into connecting me with Princeton, because Princeton loves to have me there all the time. So a big shout out to Sri and Neil for that. And I love working with these students at Princeton. They're incredible people, and Princeton's a phenomenal campus. It's a visual treat. If you ever get a chance to go to Princeton, and let me stop sharing my screen and visit Princeton University, walk around the campus, folks, you'll feel like you're in a Harry Potter film. It's amazing.
All right. Love it. Love it. Okay. So let's go ahead and who should contact you with? Why should people contact you? And how can they get a hold of you? Who would be the right person for you?
Well, several things. One is, thank you so much. I really, I'm glad we got the chance to do this, because you are really somebody who came about really fast into live streaming. I saw you from the very beginning where you just wanted to learn what it was about. And then you took the bull by the horn, so to speak, and you started your own show, worked through it, took a break, came back with another one now. And I admire that, because you know what? Sometimes we need to take breaks. That's why I stopped my show after 50 shows. It was a lot. It was a grind. And we need to do that. So people can get in touch with me. I like to produce small to medium live streams for nonprofits, educational institutions, panels, other things. I've gotten really, really good at the strategy, promoting it in many different ways. And the other thing is that I'm an excellent community builder and other things surrounding the whole live stream thing and beyond. But you can reach me on LinkedIn. You can reach me on LinkedIn at Steffen Kaplan. That's Steffen Kaplan. Please connect. And also on Instagram at Spin It Social. And, I'm up for a lot of things. I'm also more than happy to be a guest on other shows to talk about similar things like this. We all have different audiences. I love to share tips and connect with everybody. This is how business, and more importantly, great relationships develop, is because we all get to know each other and learn about each other. And it's not always about the almighty dollar. It's about learning and helping each other. That's how we all grow together.
Goes back to quality. Yeah.
Ross Brand, who I need to get back in touch with. We've also been very busy, so a lot of things went on. So many things have happened over the past 3 years. But Ross Brand, I will always give Ross a lot of credit. Ross was one of the people. Everybody should follow Ross Brand. Ross was one of the people that encouraged me and gave me a lot of free promotion and really inspired me, because he was like, "You really have what it takes. Keep working at it." I agree with Jeanette. Taking breaks.
Yes. And Cello's here. Thanks for coming through, Cello. We're about to wrap it up. This is a 30-minute show. We're on 45 minutes.
Marcello should watch the live stream that we do with Emory University 3 times a season. It's on Emory.
Look at that.
Emory Center for the Study of Human Health. And other than that, it's really just great being together again. DeeJae, I really appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. No, you're the expert in this, and I just thought it was important to share, again, visual strategy, how we can story tell. I love color. I love visuals. And for me, it's something that I want to learn more about. So Junaid is excellent at that too. When he does his streams, he's just got that eye. And that, for me, those are the people I'm naturally drawn to, is those that have, I think, he was Travis was tagged by Murray. I forgot. I'm sorry, but I mean, even his energy and his color and the visual appeal of his show, I mean, you can't match Travis either. So everyone has their own aesthetic, and I think when you bring that in, or you let it out, I guess I should say, let it out, and not be so worried about what other people are going to think, but show your personality and show those true colors. Ha 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 ha. But
no, I think that's, and I'm always rethinking things too, thanks for the invite. I had to pay the bills. I will catch
pay the bills.
Yeah, pay the bills. You gotta pay the bills.
Pay the bills.
But one of the other things about, and we could probably end on this. We told a lot of stories. Is the story another storytelling? Important thing about storytelling is digging deep and really finding different things in a story. I'll give you a quick example. I was at an event. I always use this example because the post got a lot of hits on LinkedIn once. I was speaking at the Public Relations Society of America event about 4 years ago. And I was at NYU Stern School of Business, which is across the street from Washington Square Park, where I grew up. I grew up right near Washington Square Park. I was really fortunate to grow up in such a great neighborhood as Greenwich Village. And I was there. And after I gave my presentation on social media and visuals, of course, I was looking out a window there, and it was raining. And I took this amazing photo that I just love of the arch, which is I'm very fond of because I looked at it for years from where I lived. And it was raining. So I took the photo through the glass with the raindrops coming down on the glass and the arch illuminated in the background. It was just really, really magical. My point is that when I posted about the event, I talked about the event. I talked about how I was there to teach about social media and visuals. And then, though, I also weaved in the photo about the arch that I used as the post to tell people where I was at NYU Stern School of Business. And I told some background about myself growing up in Greenwich Village. I told a little story about Greenwich Village. So I weaved it all together. And what that did was it attracted so many people to my post. It had thousands of impressions, all these likes, a lot of engagement. But the key was that it was a great story. And it wasn't just about me. It was about the neighborhood. It was about the event. It was about life. So it should never just be about you. It should be built around a pure story, not just your story, Very
true. Very true. And Mackenzie, I know you've been with us a whole hour, so props to you. Thank you for hanging out with me.
Oh, some oversaturated colors. So I don't know what that's about.
Oversaturated colors, make those bold colors, right?
Make them pop out. Yeah.
Now, and I can't say that black and white is not beautiful, because black and white art, black and white photography is beautiful in its own space. So I didn't want to negate that either, but I just love color. I'm a color kind of girl. So, all right. Wow. I'm sorry. I wish I had more time to have questions and all that. You've been telling some amazing stories. You've given amazing tips. For me, the takeaway is just take the camera and take photos as you're going. Try to capture as much as you can. Make sure you have your settings ready to go. Don't be scared. Yeah.
And always take the photos and get the video and get the photos, and don't worry about taking capture the moment, edit everything later, because as I always tell people, seize the moment.
Absolutely. Yes. Seize the moment.
I'll get it your Saturday night. By the way, I love that handle, your Saturday night. It makes me think of Saturday Night Fever for some reason. I don't know why.
That's funny. That's funny. Just show your true colors. Haha. All right, my friend. Wow. We went 50 minutes. I know I say 30, and then we have amazing conversations like this, and there's just so much information.
It goes
so fast. It goes so fast. But thank you again.
That's the nature of two people having a great conversation, and the energy that we both bring,
I agree. Again, I told Marco the same thing. We could continue this conversation. I'm sure we could go another hour or two. But for me, it's time to close up shop. I didn't get to drop my plug for my masterclass. I have a masterclass coming up in the middle of April 20th. So if anybody's available April 20th, wants to learn more about live streaming, come on over. There's the QR code. Is that good? Is that pointing good? And join me. I would love to have and help others build their live stream. So there's my little plug. I know I should have said it a little sooner, but again, the conversation was just so colorful today. And I think that's it. 30 minutes is never enough. Couldn't have said it better myself. But, I try to be respectful. I know 60 minutes can be a long time for others, and we all are busy. So, okay, everyone, I thank you. Get with Steffen. He's got amazing skill sets. He's proven that today. And that's going to do it for today's show. So, good night.
Connect with me on LinkedIn, everybody. Nice to meet you. And I hope to connect with everybody. DeeJae, thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy. All right. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye, everybody. Take